have my cranberry juice. We're ready to start. Okay, hold on. Hey guys, my name's Venetia. Nice to meet y'all. Nice to see some of y'all again. Today I am doing the newbie booktuber tag video. Yay! I'm so excited. This is actually my second time filming because the other day I filmed this video. I had like an hour worth of footage and then I put it on the laptop and I didn't like any of it. Nothing felt like natural or right. It was just so weird. So I'm filming again on a different day. I actually switched to sit on my couch because I'd rather be cozy. Next to me, I got my bookshelf. She is my favorite thing in the world. My camera battery died in the middle of that. Anyways, I'm so excited. Before I begin, this is my current read, A Court of Frost and Starlight. Everyone's rating it like 3 stars. Nobody likes this book in the ACOTAR series. I started it last night and I'm already like halfway done. Like I'm probably gonna finish it today. Let me just say, this is a book. It's not too serious. And I feel like a lot of people are taking this book a little too seriously in the series. Like this is just a filler book. Like enjoy it, be happy that there's like cuteness and fluff thus far. Anyways, let's begin. Okay, question number 1. Why did you start this channel? So this channel wasn't originally dedicated to like bookish videos. I've always like had a YouTube channel like in middle school, high school, where I would post like just random content, like random vlogs, just because I wanted to be that girl. But my freshman year, I made this channel that you're watching now, and I actually uploaded my first video, which was a second a day freshman year edition. This channel has been going on since like 2016. That is almost 10 years old. So I just always liked like recording videos and making vlogs, making little films as 14-year-old, 16-year-old me would call it. And I've uploaded them and a lot of them have just been like deleted or privated because it's cringy. As of the last couple years, I wanna say like 2021, I wanted to like make more vlog and lifestyle videos with a little bit more effort and meaning. So a lot of y'all don't know, but my man's actually in the Air Force. And when he left for boot camp, I wanted to make like little vlogs for him where it would be like, oh, Anthony, this is how my week was spent. I only did 2 weeks out of like how many weeks he was in boot camp because I forgot. And that is a bad tendency of mine. I just forget to film. So that's what this channel originally was. And then slowly I just started making like other random little vlogs. I actually live cross country from my family. So when I moved away from my family, I wanted to make like little vlogs of like my adult life, since this was also like the first time I've ever lived by myself, like not at my mom's house. So I just made little vlogs for like my family and friends. Like, I don't know if y'all could see my old videos, but it's mainly like I'm talking to like people back home and stuff. So my channel was always meant to be like this little vlogs for my families and friends to watch. But slowly I started wanting to make more like, I don't want to say broader, but I have like a little vlog series on my channel called My 20th Diaries, which is more of like a public audience because I just want to talk to all my girlies that are in their 20s and just like, this is my 20s life experience. Like, you know, like I want to share that. After that, I started getting into like watching booktuber videos and like becoming more into the book community. I want to say it was my most recent video from this video. It was my first ever like video dedicated to books, which I should have put this one out first, but who cares? Yeah, like I never like made book content before, but I want to start doing that because I love reading. I love the community on TikTok, on Lemonade, on Instagram, all these little like social medias. There's just this very beautiful, warm, loving group of the book community, and I just love being involved in like talking about books and like characters and our favorite tropes and all of that stuff. So that's why I kind of want to start sharing more book videos so I can just like talk to y'all about more specific things. Yeah, also like I was kind of scared to post book videos, even though like I only posted one so far. I know my mom doesn't really read, my brother and some of my friends don't really like to read, but then I have like other friends that do like to read, but like it's not a majority of like my friends and family that like to read. So I was like I'm scared. Oh, this is my dog, Tango. We're gonna let her do what she has to do. But I never like really wanted to post it, so I'm like, okay, like if my friends and family are watching my vlogs, I don't really want to bore them with like my book videos and stuff. But the other day, after I uploaded my January wrap up and February TBR, my grandpa called me and he was like, he just got out of surgery, so he's on like recovery. And he's like, I just was like around the house resting, but I put your YouTube video on and like I loved watching it. And I'm like, oh my God, like out of all people, like I did not expect my grandpa to watch that video because it's 45 minutes of me just like talking about, sorry, that was a toy, of me just like talking about books. So yeah, like I'm just interested to see who I meet and who like some of my videos like really connect to or resonate with. Also, before I move on to the next question, I do tend to ramble and overcomplicate and over-explain things. So this is gonna be a long video. What are some fun and unique things that you bring to BookTube? But honestly, like a lot of the books I own or read are from like the library or Goodwill. I find a bunch of books at Goodwill. I wanna say like 90% of them, okay, 80. But 80% of the books I like find and like buy to add to my collection are books I've never heard of, books that are like super old, or just books that I feel like are underrated and I don't really see a lot of people talking about. As well as with the library, because they just have like a huge selection of books that I've never even heard of or seen people talk about. And I'm like, well, I want to read it because like you just read the back of a book and like you fall in love with that plot and you just want to read it for yourself. So I feel like what I would bring that's unique is just like talking about those books that a lot of people aren't really discussing or reviewing, and bringing like a new light to like different ways to book shop. I see a lot of booktubers shop at like Barnes and Noble and I'm like, how do y'all have that financial stability to go there? Because that place is so expensive. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Barnes and Nobles, like that's my girl. Like I sometimes feel, I don't want to say left out, but I understand like how people like, I don't know, like in my case, like I don't feel left out. I'm just like, oh my God, like I can't really do like a huge book haul from Barnes and Nobles. I can do a book haul from Half Price Bookstore. That's my second number one. Like, okay, honestly, Half Price Bookstore over Barnes and Noble. I said it. And so I feel like I want to like bring more light to like, even if you want to do a book haul from like, I don't want to say Goodwill because sometimes Goodwill, honestly, Goodwill has a lot of cookbooks and like Western books and I'm not really into those. But you can also like get a good haul at Goodwill, like if you are a budget baddie or if like you don't have this money to spend for like $16, $17 books, because a lot of books are so expensive nowadays. Also, you can like go take advantage of like your library, which I already stress about every single time I mention that L word. Some libraries have even like their own little stores where things are like discounted. But yeah, so just like being able to like show like a different side of affordable book girliness. I hope that makes sense. Oh my God, every answer is so long-winded, I'm so sorry. Number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm just really excited to like be with a group and a community of people that also share the similar interest in books. We can all like giggle and like talk about these books, and that's so fun. Like, I don't know, I'm just excited to open this up and see if people like have that, they share opinions about books with me or what they don't like about the books that I like just everything that comes out of this community of sharing and expressing our own opinions. Did that make sense? The next question is, why do you love reading? Okay, honestly, like, this is gonna sound so cringy, but it literally when I read a book, my mind shuts off and I could be in another world. Like I could transport myself to like wherever I'm reading. Whether, yes, it's like a thriller or a romance, but like for like however long time I set to read, within that time period, I can just like turn off my brain, turn off my worries, turn off my responsibilities, not think about anything, and just like get lost in somebody else's world. You know, like it's so fun reading. Like you just like can experience someone else's like adventure and just reading through like, I don't like, but yeah, like you can just like go through their own journey and not worry about yourself for those 5 pages even that you're reading. And also sometimes like when I'm reading a book, like, and I read some of the quotes that really resonate with me, I could just like have like a new perspective on life, or like even internally, like learn something about the characters that can apply to myself, you know? Especially after reading like the ACOTAR series, or like however far I'm into it right now. Like when I sit down and read it, I literally feel like I'm in that damn townhouse and I'm with them. Like I literally, like it sounds so stupid, but I feel like I'm like with the characters. Like I'm just sitting there at the table like, ugh, open another bottle of wine, y'all. Like I feel like I'm with them. Next question. What book or series got you into reading? So as a child, that's when I actually started reading, but we're not gonna talk about that now because that's a question later. What got me into reading as a kid? I think, okay, don't come for me, but the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, like as a child, like that was honestly such like a gateway book into like reading, because I don't know about y'all, but whenever I got a new one, I would read those like in one day. Like I would just like, I would be Greg Heffley. I would read those books so fast. I also read, I forgot the name of the series, but if y'all know these ones, I ate these up as a kid. Like these ones were just so fun to me. Like, I don't know. The Percy Jackson series I read, Maze Runner, that was around like the early times, like the early stage of young reader me. But for a while I took a break and I like didn't really read anything, where I wasn't reading a lot. I wanna say it was 2022, honestly a year and a half ago, because we were just in 2024, is when I started reading again. I went to Target because I was so intentional. I'm like, I want to read. And I found, where'd I put it? I found Hidden Pictures. I was like, oh, this premise looks kind of cool. It's about, if y'all don't know, our main character, Mallory, she is an ex-drug addict and she wants to be clean. So her mentor, I think that's the name, or your sponsor, I'll say mentor because I know I will stutter on the word sponsor. But her sponsor basically hooked her up with like a babysitting nanny gig for the summer, so she can like focus on being clean and like having responsibilities. But the child that she begins to nanny is drawing like these really disturbing pictures, and she thinks that these pictures are linked with the murder. So the story basically is about her trying to decode these pictures and what they mean. But yeah, like I was reading it, dude, when I read this book, it was like the first book I picked up in years, and I was so, like this book was so good. I think I read it in like 3 days, which was like record time, like for me just starting to read again. I literally like went to bed and I'm like, one more chapter, like, you know, when you want one more chapter and you're like staying up hella late. Even like the next morning I would be at work and I'm like, oh, like I can't wait to get off work and just go home and like read. Spoiler. But yeah, this book was just, it was so good. Like I ended up loving it so much. I don't really want to say ACOTAR just because I read that in the later months of 2023, but that's also another series that kind of like made me want to read more. Oh, I know what also made me want to get back into reading. So after I read this one, like I would read books every now and then, right? Like I would just pick up a book, read it. Fast forward to July 2023, a book that wanted me to read more, especially like I never really like read romancy genres because I was like, okay, like for me personally, thrillers are gonna like, because it's so suspenseful, you want to keep reading to like find out what happens, versus like a romance book, they're kind of predictable in the sense that like no matter what the plot is, at the end, you know they're gonna get together. It's just about the journey of how they get there. But the book Icebreaker, you guys know this book. Honestly, I loved it so much that I wanted to read more like romancy books like that were along the same page as this. So yeah, I would say Hidden Pictures, ACOTAR, and Icebreaker kind of got me back into reading again as an adult. Okay, next question. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I would ask, I know for like the booktubers that I watch at least, they are like bookworms. So they go through books like super fast, like all their whole content, because they're a dedicated booktuber, is literally just books. So what I want to know is like if they ever get into reading slumps and how they would get out of those slumps, or like what do they recommend, because that's something I fear that one day I'm gonna get into a slump and I'm never gonna want to read again because I'm gonna be so like bored of a book that's gonna make me cautious of other books. The next question, which kind of goes along with it in a sense, is when they would recognize that they want to DNF a book. For me personally, it's so bad to say, but I feel so guilty and, what was the word I'm looking for? Guilty and like defeated if I have to DNF a book, because I'm like, damn, like I should have just read through it. But at the end of the day, reading is a hobby for me, and why would I spoil the fun of my hobby by forcing myself to do it? So that's something that I try to remember when I like DNF a book. I only DNF'd 2 books. It was Alice Isn't Dead and Where the Crawdads Sing. I only got like 33 pages in Where the Crawdads Sing, but I had to DNF it. Like I do plan to read it later. It is on like my TBR list. But yeah, like I felt so guilty, but I'm like, no, like there's no point. And like after I DNF'd Where the Crawdads Sing, I picked up A Court of Mist and Fury, and I like ended up loving that book and reading it. So I think also too, it's about like right time, wrong time. Wait. Right book, wrong time. Wow, I just answered my own question. Okay, anyways. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest? Okay, my biggest challenge in general is just I do tend to, like I said at the beginning of the video, over explain things and just like ramble and yap too much. So I feel like that can really get in the way. But with that, I also am really bad at being descriptive and like giving explanations. So I feel like I'm just gonna be rambling on and on about nothing when describing a book. Even in my last video, I was like, oh my God, like I used the word cute and cute little read a million times in that video. I'm like, oh my God. So I feel like that's something I do wanna work on just in general, because I like just wanna evolve my language skills. I don't know the word I'm looking for. Also, like I never really gave reviews before to like anybody. Like yes, I would go talk to my friends and be like, y'all need to read this book, but I never like really sat down and talked publicly to a wider audience, like even 10 people, about why they needed a book. I never talked about a book for so long, you know? Another thing is I do like to go on my phone, but sometimes I like don't want to read a book, and I feel like on BookTube, or like the book community, at least from my perspective, like a lot of people like can just like sit there and consume book after book after book, and like have like, I read 25 books in this month, and I'm like, oh my God, how do you, like, even when I read 7 last month, that was a huge milestone for me. And I think that's one thing that I'm like, will see as a challenge. So I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna feel the pressure to like read all these books, and I'm end up gonna like not care about the quality of the book I'm reading. So that's something internally that I feel like is gonna be a challenge for me, just to be like, girl, quality over quantity. Like you don't have to worry about reading all these books. Like just read what you want to read and then like talk about it. Like you don't have to have all these books, girl. Like I need to tell myself that, because then I'm not, at that point, I'm not reading to read. I'm reading to get my numbers up on Goodreads, you know? When did you start reading? So like I said kind of earlier, I started reading as a child. I remember my mom and my grandma used to always like take me to Barnes and Noble, and like, you know, this like the little like kiddie section. I love that. Like I always wanted to like be on the stage, and I don't know, like I don't really read on audio, or I don't listen to audiobooks. I don't have a Kindle or like a Nook, and I don't really ever want to get one, just because I like the feeling of like having a physical book with me and like carrying a book. And so like as a child, like I really loved that, and I'd always get books as a kid. I always loved like the feeling of a book. In middle school I would read, high school I would read every now and then. I started reading again as an adult, like I said, in 2022. So when I was about like 21 years old. And yeah, I'm excited. Just like reading again makes me feel like when I first started reading as a kid, because it's so like, there's like this childish joy I get from reading, like connecting with the characters, giggling, like Literally the other day when I was reading A Court of Wing and Ruin, I was sitting there like talking to the book, like I was yelling at the book, and Anthony was like, what are you doing? Like, who are you talking to? And I just felt like a kid again, like just reading and like yelling at the book and staying up late to read another chapter, like getting excited, like getting my emotions. Like it was just, you know, like it's like when you're a kid again. That answers that question, I think. I don't know. At this point, I'm just talking because I like to talk. Where do you read? You're looking at it. My couch. I don't know, like I don't really go anywhere to read. I just like, this is literally, I sit like this, I get my blanket, I just like to sit and read, and like on my couch specifically, because I get to be in my pajamas, I get to have my blanket, my drinks, my little snacks. I don't really like to read. I read in my bed, but that's like before I go to sleep or something, or when I first wake up. I don't like to read there because I like to sit and read. And then I have like my little music playing in the background. I don't know, I don't like, I'm a homebody, you know? But lately when I've been going to like the laundromat, I've been taking the book with me, and I've actually been sitting and reading my book. Because sometimes I'll bring a book and then I'll just like go on my phone. But lately when I bring a book, I've been reading it, so. What kind of books do I like to read? Okay, we're gonna rank them. So my top is romantasy, and then my second is fantasy, and then thriller, and then romance. I haven't really read anything out of these genres, so that's something I really want to like push myself to do, to like find something different, just to be like I read a Western book, I read a historical fiction book. But these four genres is typically the kind of books I like to read. Like I have my thriller book right here. I have my romantasy book right here. So yeah, those are like my top genres I like to read. This year, I do want to read more horror books, nonfiction, and biographies. Those are the top 3 books I want to read more, specifically that are not my top 4. Like without having to read the books I don't like, you know? Those are all the questions I'm gonna be answering. The last question says, it's what does your book collection look like? So I figured, why not just show you instead of sitting on my butt on my couch and talking about it? So come on. But as for like the sitting down, those are all the questions for those ones. Let's go. Okay, so this is my bookshelf. This is my one that's downstairs and also like my first bookshelf, I guess. So it has my cute little things. I really don't have like a good cohesive organization, so let's ignore that. But I wanted to organize it by like series. So like I have the City of Bones series, Hunger Games. I have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Twilight. I know like these ones are all a series, but I only have book 1 of them, like Twisted Love, King of Wrath. And then I have like Game of Thrones. These are Anthony's, but what's his is mine, what mine is mine. School for Good and Evil, Cruel Prince. So that's my top row. But I have like my horror thriller books. I have my classic literature. I have some random books. These ones are the books that I have read. And then these ones are just like random self-help books and like, I don't know what genre those would be. I also have like, these are in my collection, but this is a library, and then obviously with the tags, those are library books too. I have ACOTAR. I just got these yesterday for Valentine's Day, a little early gift. A Little Life, I heard it's super sad, so it better be sad. I really wanted this one because I love Dave Grohl, so I picked it up. It's also nonfiction, which is something I want to do. Obviously I had to get Divine Rivals. Like, she is just cutesy bootsy. Okay, my second bookshelf has some more of Anthony's books. So like, I don't know, The Witcher and stuff. Harry Potter series, which I got from Goodwill. So I'm like, yes, this was like, I got like this whole series and then like 10 other books for $30. Right. Some other like random books. These ones, my tarot cards and like my little palmistry books. Some more thrillers and suspenseful books and horror. These ones, I don't know how to classify, but it's like Gone Girl, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Some fantasy and romance. Some popular TikTok-y books. These ones I just found at Goodwill. So I have the Fixer Up. Yes, I found this one. I found these two at Goodwill, bro. Like I was beyond disbelief. Buy a Thread, I heard that's cute. A Man Called Ove. The Hate You Give. A little fantasy book because I low-key want this to like read to my children when like I have kids one day, and I'm like, oh, let's pull up a little cute story from here, even though I know grim fairy tale is kind of like morbid. Then I have this book. It's also a nonfiction. I think it's like it's a memoir. But this is a memoir about a girl who, trigger warning, she was kidnapped and assaulted for I think 15 or 18 years. And she discusses like her life story and like her experience and how she escaped. So this is a really, really heartbreaking read if you ever get the chance to read it, which I recommend. But yeah, that is my bookshelf that I have upstairs. It's a little more low-key, like she's not as cute as my downstairs living room one, but that's just because like we had an extra shelf, so I'm like, okay, I'll put all my extra books up here. But ideally I'd want to like decorate it or have like, when we move out and like have a more settled down place, I want more like a cuter, elaborate bookshelf. But not now, not now. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!